Hey guys, welcome to this Methods 1-2 chapter help video. This is going to be on chapter 1E, which is solving linear inequalities. And yeah, let's just get straight into this video. So this chapter, it's going to be very similar to chapter 1A, which is solving linear equations, except we're adding the inequality sign, which functions a little bit differently when you're dividing or multiplying the inequality by a negative number. But we're going to learn about that later down in the video. So yeah, and we're also going to learn about number lines and how to illustrate these inequalities on a number line, like plot it down. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. This chapter shouldn't be too bad. I think you may have learnt it in year 9 or year 10 or something like that. So it should be pretty quick. There's only like a few questions on the textbook. So yeah, it's really not too bad. Now I've made 3 questions here. So the first question is going to be x plus 7 is more than 2. So we're just going to write down x plus 7 is more than 2, and we're going to solve it this way. So x, we'll just bring the 7 over to the other side, so that becomes minus 5. That's how we solve this inequality. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of pretty much the same as a linear equation. Okay, but now we're going to include number lines. So this is kind of something a little bit new. First of all, we're going to draw an axis like that so we can illustrate the numbers and like different intervals in between. We're going to label this axis as x so we know what thing we're plotting for, which in this case is going to be the variable of x. Now, when we read the answer of x is more than minus 5, we're going to start to realize that x, it cannot be minus 5 or lower. It cannot be minus 6, minus 7. So that means it must be going in the positive direction, like starting from minus 5, going that way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plot this left endpoint, and we're going to start with minus 6 because that is one number lower than minus 5. And then we're just going to increase in increments of 1. So minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, and then that's pretty much good enough. Now what we want to do is draw our line for x. Now we need to read this part. So a hollow dot is representing any kind of like lines which have a more than or less than symbol. For any lines involving a more than or equal to or a less than or equal to symbol, we draw a hollow dot. Now let's just take a look at this one. So x is more than minus 5. We have a more than symbol here. It doesn't mean that it can be minus 5. So in this case, we have to draw a hollow dot here, right above minus 5. So there we go. And then again, x is heading up the positive way. So it's going to mean we're going to draw the line to the right. And that's pretty much our answer for the first question, including this number line here. So it's not too bad when we factor in what we need to draw, what we need to label on the number line. And yeah, the solving the inequality part is pretty much the same as chapter 1A. Okay, now for this second question, it says that x plus 5 over 3 is less than 5. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just write down the question here. We're just going to solve this like a normal linear equation. So we're going to bring the times both sides by 3. So that becomes x plus 5 is less than 15. And then bring the 5 over to the other side. So that becomes x is less than 10. And that's our inequality. Now for the number line, again, it's pretty similar to the number line we just drew before. So we're going to draw the number line here, like that. And then because x is less than 10, so it's going to start from 10 and then go the negative direction this time, so going to the left. We're going to draw 11 up here because that is one number more than 10. And then going down, we're going to write 10, 9, 8, 7, and so on, so on. So yeah, we're going to draw 6 here. When you're drawing number lines as well, make sure to have equal spacing in between every interval, because if the spacing is like very, very off, then it's not really going to make sense. So the number line's going to display kind of invalid information. So just be careful of that. Again, also make sure to label the axis as x or whatever the variable is. Maybe it's y or z or something like that. So yeah, make sure to label the axis as the variable that you're like you have in the inequality. So now we're going to draw the line, and we're going to look here. So we have a in the answer here, we've got a x is less than 10. So we have this symbol here, and this symbol corresponds to the hollow dot. So we're going to draw the hollow dot above 10. And because it's like going in the negative direction, it's like less than 10. It cannot be anything more than 10. That means it's going this way. And so our line is going to go towards the left. And that's it. Okay, now for the third question, this is a little bit more complex, but when we work through it, it shouldn't be too hard. So minus x plus 3 is less than or equal to 16 plus 3x all over 2. So let's just write this down. Minus x, there we go. Minus x plus 3 is less than or equal to 16 plus 3x over 2. And yeah, we're just going to treat this as any normal linear equation. So we're going to times both sides by 2. That becomes minus 2x plus 6 is less than or equal to 16 plus 3x, like that. And what we're going to do now is make sure the x's are at the same kind of side. So minus 5x is going to be less than or equal to, we're going to bring the 6 over to the other side, so that's going to become 10. Now, here's where things get a little bit tricky. So we have a minus 5 as the coefficient of x. So you're probably thinking, oh, we just divide both sides by minus 5 and that's going to be it. We've got to be careful though, because with inequalities, when you're dividing both sides by a negative, the sign actually switches over to the other side. So what this is going to become is x is more than or equal to 2. It's not going to be x is less than or equal to 2. And we can kind of prove it through this method here. So we're going to bring it back a few steps over to this line, and we're going to work from this line again. So when we bring, let's say we bring the x's, so minus 2x, over to the right-hand side instead. So, and then we bring the 16 over to this side. So that's going to become minus 10 is less than or equal to 5x. And then that simplifies to minus 2 is less than or equal to x. And this is pretty much, I forgot the minus sign here. This is pretty much the same as like these two questions. They're exactly the same. It's just like the positioning of the numbers are a little bit different. So you're gonna realize that when we divide both sides by a negative number, we need to make sure that the inequality sign switches along with that. So let's say minus 5x is less than or equal to 10. When the minus sign switches over to the other side, the inequality sign is like following that sign and is switching over as well. You can think of it that way. So yeah, just be careful of this when you see anything where this sort of circumstance appears. Just be careful and make sure that the negative sign, when it's being transferred over to the other side or it's being cancelled or something like that, the inequality sign switches over. Okay, now let's plot this on a number line. So x is more than or equal to minus 2. So we're just going to draw this axis here and label that x before we forget. So minus 2, it cannot be anything less than minus 2. So we're going to make sure that our left endpoint is minus 3, and then we're increasing in increments of 1. So minus 1, 0, 1, and 2. So again, roughly equal spacing like that. And now what we do is just draw the line. Now be careful here because we've got the more than or equal to symbol, and you can see here that we use the filled in dot for these more than or equal to / less than or equal to symbols. So now what we do, instead of drawing a hollow dot above negative 2, we have to draw a filled in dot like this. And then we draw the line so it's going that way because it's like going towards the positive side. And that's going to be our answer for this, including the number line. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. This chapter should be pretty straightforward. If you got any questions or like I've done something wrong here, make sure to let me down and let me know in the comments. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.